A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
Okay, Jordan, open us up. I'm reading.
Alright, he's reading. Today we are looking through the recently released playtest material for Critical Role's new TTRPG, Daggerheart. And so we spent the last couple minutes kind of trying to get our bearings because this document is 377 pages.
It's huge.
They did a lot. And
They
it's
did a
kind
lot.
of impressive.
A lot of it's really cool too.
It's very cool so far. So these are our first impressions. Well, kind of first impressions. This is our first time looking through the whole thing. I watched the introductory videos that Critical Role put out on the day that it released, but I have not looked at the materials yet. And so we're just kind of scrolling through right now and getting our bearings and look. All the art is so cool.
Art is very beautiful.
The art
I
is very, very cool.
Highly suggest before we even get started, for anyone who likes looking through like source books and stuff for TTRPGs, just go to, was it on Darrington Press? Is that
Yep,
what it was
it's
on?
Darrington Press is
Yeah.
the whole thing, and then you click through a series of, so it's on darringtonpress.com. I think it's /Daggerheart. You'll be able to find it if you Google Daggerheart.
Yeah.
And then there's a link to join the Daggerheart open beta playtest right now, and that'll take you to the link to actually download the material. And they've got, what is it? It's a zip file, and they've got like the quick start guide. They've got like a beginning adventure setting to kind of get you started so you can start to play through. Oh, I'm looking at just the GM materials. Geez, they have all the cards available. They have folders for GM materials and player materials. And we're currently looking through the playtest manuscript, which seems to be like their player's handbook generally, which explains all the rules that they've made, the differences in the system and the different classes and all of that stuff. And we're scrolling through and just looking at all the cool stuff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
I did find the
Yeah.
health Pertuset.
I skipped ahead and read it.
Okay.
That's how he got stuck in the races.
That's how I got stuck in the races. I'm back at the top now, so I can go back over it.
Now I'm looking at all the dice stuff. There's so much.
It's worth mentioning that we've mentioned it before, but as far as play goes, we've never really played any system other than
D&D.
D&D. We've played different versions of D&D briefly.
And we
We've
dip a bit
dabbled in other
into
versions.
Yeah, we dip a bit into Pathfinder rules occasionally while still
We-
playing D&D.
We have stolen a lot of Pathfinder rules for our table rules because
Yep.
we like them better than some of the 5e rules.
But yeah, so if you're a seasoned person that's played several different things and are looking at this and you're like, 377 pages, I wipe my butt with that. Forgive us, as we have really only played in one system
Yeah.
and are a bit awestruck. Although maybe this is truly impressive to even you seasoned people out there watching this.
Well, I think it's just so cool. I think it's impressive that they've released 377 pages of material for their V1 playtest.
Yeah,
Like,
because there are
that's the thing
several
that's-
things in here
Yeah.
that are like, this isn't done yet. Come back later. So it will be much more than 377 pages later.
True, this is the March 12th version. It said the last
Mhm.
thing was March 12th playtest. So in case it's our curse and like the time this episode comes out, a new playtest of this is dropped, we need to say now.
Yeah.
We got to start dating them.
Yeah.
So I suppose we should just like kind of
I'd just be reading.
kind of
yeah,
browse through it.
I'm looking at
Um,
stress right now.
I'm gonna say we should at least kind of try to give an order of operations here. So we'll go.
I was going through
and
their
just-
steps at the top.
Oh yeah,
Choose your class. Step 1.
yeah. That's what I was about to say. Is let's just like start in part. Let's break it up into the parts. So let's like look
Mhm.
at part 1 first.
Everyone
and then we
choose a
can look at
class.
part 2.
Wait, we're choosing a class. Hold on.
Yeah.
I can't find it. I was
Now,
down like further in the thing. I gotta find the
It's
list.
gonna be locked in forever. You can't change it. Oh yeah, we still have Taryn here too.
Yeah.
Yep, Taryn's here.
Oh God.
And his
He's in the
sewer.
sewer.
Yeah, Terrence still in the sewer.
He didn't go down the sewer slide.
Not
He
with
didn't.
us.
I kind of want to look in. I want to see what changes they made to the wizard, so I'll look at wizard.
Okay. I want to see what they did with Bard.
Mm-hmm.
So I will pick Bard.
I'm looking at Guardian.
I don't like it, but I'm gonna pick Seraph just because it's called Seraph.
It's intriguing. I think it's interesting.
I mean, it's fine, but like, my goodness, it's a bit more import than like cleric or paladin. It's Seraph. It's
Divine instrument.
Okay.
Bard. What do we got over here? What do we got? So should we just let's pick an order here. Someone
Let's
start.
do like first impressions first, just off of the stuff that we've seen. Anything that sticks out to you, good, bad, really interesting, love this, and they might need to fix this a little bit. Just any, like, what is the first thing that pops out at you?
Okay. Well, the class ability of Bard, instead of Bardic Inspiration.
Oh, I just mean like the entire thing, Levi.
Well, I know this is what sticks out to me.
Okay.
The class ability of Bard, instead of Bardic Inspiration, is called Rally. And instead of just being a die that you can add, instead let me read it just a little bit more so that I'm making sure I'm reading this right. Actually, no, it works similarly, but instead of giving it to one person, you give it to everyone. At the beginning of a session, place a d6 on your character sheet with the lowest number facing up. When anyone in your party rolls with fear, turn the rally die to increase this value by 1. When you would increase the value above 6, remove the die, describe how you rally the party, and give every character who listens 1d6 rally die. They spin this die to roll it and add the result to any action roll, reaction roll, or damage roll. If your rally die hasn't finished this countdown by the end of a session, distribute the current value shown on the die as hope amongst your party, splitting it in any way you choose, and remove the die. And it goes up at level 5. It goes up to 1d8. Thoughts?
Yay.
Aaron likes it.
Thanks, sewer boy.
What does
Please
it
help
do?
me, I am under the sewer.
Basically, when everyone gets really, when you keep getting fearful things happening to you, which I'm assuming are bad, eventually you all get a free d6 that you can use on anything, the more bad things that keep happening to you.
Anti-luck.
Yeah, and at level 5 it goes up to a d8.
Now, what if in my playstyle I simply will not have fear?
That's
lost
not
value to me.
possible.
I don't think that's possible in this system.
I was actually going to
Really?
talk about that next because that was one of the things that stuck out to me. But if we have more thoughts on the bard thing, continue.
That's all. I just, the way I see it in my playstyle, that's a lost feature for me because I'm not going to get in the fear. So
I
Well,
don't
Jordan,
think you have a
explain?
choice.
Okay, let's explain the fear. Let's explain the fear so
Okay.
we can understand the fear.
So that was the thing that stuck out to me that I wanted to talk about is that they're not rolling, you're not doing checks with a classic D20 system. They're doing 2D12s. And so it's a hope and fear system. So you roll the 2D12s, and from my understanding of what I've seen and what I've read, it's you roll the 2D12s and then you add them together with your modifier, and that's the number you get. However, whichever die rolls the higher number is when funky things happen. So when you roll, you add your score together, but if your hope die, the die that you designated to be your hope die, rolls the higher number in the pair, that's good for the players. If the fear die comes up with the higher number of the pair, then it's good for the DM.
Yeah.
And then also if you want to crit, that's when you roll the same number on both your D12, which I thought was really interesting.
So I can always be in the hope mode.
If your dice like you.
If your hope die is always rolling higher than your fear die, yeah.
I will simply weight the die.
Because I looked because I've watched a little bit of the playtest video that Critical Role released, and so I got to see how they did combat a little bit. And fear is one of the things that helps move combat, because when you roll with fear, which is what it's called whenever you come up with the higher number on the fear die, the DM gets tokens that they can then use for actions in combat.
Yeah. I will simply get 2 identical D12s and claim that I always know which one is the hope and which one is the fear, but in reality, the hope just always rolls higher.
That's the
That's
way
the
to
hope.
do it. I think it's cool that they're just encouraging my dice goblinhood.
Yeah.
I have all the D12s. Let me roll all the D12s.
I think it's an interesting system because that not encourages, but that makes it so that there is the potential for just the DM to not get to do anything in a combat if the players roll really well, and vice versa. It could go horrible if the dice
Can't
just
imagine what
hate
that
you.
would be like.
But if I remember correctly, isn't like the tokens? I mean, I haven't watched it like Jordan has. I've watched someone else explain it to me. Isn't the token system like an economy where when the DM uses a token, it goes back to the players, and when the players use a
think
token, it goes
so.
back to the DM?
I believe it goes back and forth in some way, but I'm not 100% concrete on the mechanics of it yet, because I honestly haven't gotten that far.
Yeah.
I'm just reading like the overview of the roll with hope, roll with fear, all of that jazz.
I have
But
no idea.
That probably would have been a better place to start than Bard, because that does seem to be the axes on which the game works, is the
Go
hope
back
and
to
fear system.
No, let's read all
back to
Bard
Bard?
first.
Let's read all Bard. Okay, let me go to Bard.
Oh, very strange, very new and different. It hardly feels like a. Well, I mean, it feels like a far cry from D&D, I should say, despite the setting being
Thematically, it
similar.
makes me think of Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah,
Just with the valor and the paranoia system in Darkest
it's got
Dungeon.
all that stuff. It's got like stress, yeah. Which, I mean, are you really even a new TTRPG if you don't have stress? Everyone loves stress bars.
Everyone does love stress bars in TTRPGs now.
Oh, my big takeaway, as I was talking to them about earlier, was how, I don't know what the right phrase is for it, but how simplified the different levels of things are. Like, you don't roll HP and get an HP number. You don't have a quantifiable amount of money. You have different levels of money, of wealth. Your HP, you have different little slots. Up to a maximum of like 12, it looks like.
Yeah, and instead of having numbered HP, you have damage thresholds.
Which is much
where
more
I
like
thought
Warhammer.
that was cool.
Something has to hit you to a certain amount, and then that hurts you.
Yeah.
And then you take wounds based on those damage
which is
thresholds.
very,
I thought that
very
was
reminiscent
cool.
of Warhammer, yes.
Warhammer and a bit of 3.5, where there were creatures back then, the resistance was not half damage, but it was like resistance 10, and they didn't take damage unless you did over 10 damage.
Yep.
Like that. And I was reading up on that because I was like, so the example they have here is it says minor 6, 11 major, 16 severe, and I was like,
yeah,
what happens if I get under a 6? Turns out, if you get under the whatever your minor is, you get a stress unless it's even lower, and unless it's a 0, and then you get nothing. But even if the DM were to roll you to hit with a 5 in this instance, you would take no damage, but you would take a stress.
Yeah.
What does stress do? I do not know, but I bet you it's not good.
And I think the thresholds are class dependent or race dependent. I can't remember.
Mine was on my class.
Class,
yeah,
okay.
They are class dependent because your
said
HP
5, 10,
is class
15.
dependent.
Yeah.
Stress represents the mental and physical strain put on your character. As with hit points, when you take downtime, you have the opportunity to clear stress. When you gain levels, you can increase the amount of stress you can withstand. You always mark stress when you take damage that's below your minor threshold but above 0.
Yeah.
This reflects the impact on your stamina, both physically and psychologically. In addition to marking stress when you take tiny amounts of damage, your GM can also inflict stress as the complication or consequence of an action, especially when a roll doesn't go the way it should have. The GM might also give you the option of marking stress to avoid an outcome. What does stress do to you, though? That's what I want to know. What does it do to you?
What happens when I'm stressed out?
When you describe stress removes, in addition to marking stress, you might be able to mark stress to perform certain moves that call for it. It's not telling me.
I don't know. We may never know.
I bet that this is dispersed throughout several things where it's like,
Probably.
if you get to this level of stress when you're doing this thing, this happens to you. Success with
Nah.
hope, success with fear, trait rolls, attack rolls, reaction rolls. Let me go back up to the dang
Man,
key, the
there's just
table
a
of
ton of stuff.
contents.
That's what I was looking at. There's just so much. There's just...
It's a lot to get through.
Story is consequence. Death. How does death work? Wait.
Yeah, I want to die.
That's interesting.
Facing death is an important part of being an adventurer. In Daggerheart, when you mark your last hit point, you must make a death move. Choose one of the options. Embrace death and go out in a blaze of glory. Avoid death and face the consequences. Risk it all.
What does that mean?
Ooh.
So if you embrace death,
No whammies.
take one action at GM discretion, which becomes an automatic critical success, then cross through the veil of death. Avoid death
Wow.
and face the consequences. You drop unconscious temporarily and work with the GM to describe how the situation gets much worse because of it. Then roll your fear die. If the value is equal to or under your level, take a scar. You may not take any actions while unconscious. When you have any number of of your marked hit points cleared by an ally or on the party's next long rest, you will return to consciousness. And finally, risk it all. Roll your duality dice. If hope is higher, you stay on your feet and clear an amount of hit points and stress equal to the value of the hope die. Divide the hope die value up between these however you'd prefer. If your fear die is higher, you cross the veil of death. If the duality dice are tied, you stay on your feet and clear all hit points and stress.
See, I think that's interesting because one of the quibbles that I have with the saving throw system in D&D is it's a little bit anticlimactic. Like, your stomach still drops and you feel like you're going to hurl because your character just died. But narratively, there's not very much, like, you can't really do anything about it because you're already down for about a minute before you fail all your saving throws. Or you, like, die. So I feel like letting the character go out in a blaze of glory and have some kind of control over the situation. Like, yes, your character's going to die, but there's a little bit more narrative weight to it, I guess, because you kind of get a little bit more control over what your character's doing before they die, instead of just like, oh yeah, time ran out, we can't revivify anymore. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My goodness. I'm realizing more and more, at least as it is in its current state, that there's just an insane amount of stuff put on GM and player interpretation.
Yes.
There's not a lot of hard and fast rules.
A lot more talk to your players and figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, because
Which I kind of dig.
It's nice, but it can also be really not nice depending on your GM.
Yeah, it depends on your
And your
GM
players.
and your players. I think
You
for
can
us,
work-
it would work pretty well because we're really good friends and get along very well, and it's easy for us to work together.
But I can totally see some GM that's giving you stress for, like, stepping with your left foot.
Yeah.
And
When I
can
asked for
also-
marching order, was everybody in step whenever we were moving?
Yeah, and I can see players that are like, really? You're gonna give me a stress because I missed my attack and got a nat 1 or 2 in this game? You're gonna give me stress for that? I hate you. I hate this game. I'm out. Like,
No, if you got a 2, that would be Snake Eyes. It would be a crit.
True.
oh, you're right. A nat 3. I said that was their AC. No.
I'm still looking for what stress does to you.
It freaks you out. You are scared.
I'm trying to find it.
It's just a flavor
You're
mechanic.
tripping.
Is it actually? That's
It's
crazy.
just
I
a
don't
happy
know.
meal.
If it is,
Karen's not
that's-
actually looking at the file.
I've not looked at it. Well, I have the file open and I have looked at it, but I'm not looking for the.
I want to say it maybe has something to do with scars, or maybe you mark off hit points whenever you get too stressed, but I'm not sure.
That'd be a step too far for me if it was just a flavor mechanic.
Indicating how much damage you can endure before marking a hit point. The dark bars in the hit points and stress section of your character sheet show the 3 tiers of damage you can take.
I don't think it's just flavor. I
Yeah.
think that it's just kind of hidden.
When the GM tells you to take damage, compare that number to your thresholds and hit points.
Yep. Darkness. I'll cover line of sight and darkness.
Oh, speaking of
anytime.
Warhammer mechanics, their
Mhm.
combat mechanics are a little Warhammery, where you got to break out the rulers.
Do you really?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
It's it's a little bit more loosey-goosey than Warhammer, but they don't use like squares and hexes. It's
You
kind
have
of
like
an estimate.
distances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you have like it's like within 5 feet of you is like close range, and then
Mhm.
within 10 feet of you is medium range, and then within 20 feet is long range.
There's
And so
melee,
you do stuff within those ranges.
melee, very close, close, far, and very far
Yeah.
are the distances. And it says, and it gives the feet that it would be in game, and then it lets you know. It's with the game cards. So for very close, you're about 5 to 10 feet away. Anything on a battle map that is within the shortest length of a game card. So it would be the shortest side of a playing card would be how far away you would be for 5 to 10 feet. That's interesting.
I found something.
Do tell.
Yes. If your character does have the full 5 points of stress and is hit with an attack, you will lose at least 1 hit point, even if the damage is lower than your minor threshold. So it starts leaking into HP.
So it is an HP thing. That's cool.
You're so stressed out that you just get hit.
Yeah, if you ever can't mark a stress slot because your slot's already full, you must instead mark 1 hit point. So that's like if you're taking minor little bits of damage, your damage threshold is 6, but you're taking 2, you still mark a hit point.
Mhm.
I could see how that could be frustrating.
Yeah, that'll build up.
Which I think is
quick.
good. I think is good because that gives you a consequence for having high stress still.
Mhm.
So you can't just avoid negative consequences.
Oh, I found the downtime rules.
Downtime?
Well, they expanded what you can do on a short rest. Short rest is when a player are only able to stop and catch their breath, taking a break for about an hour. Each player may swap any domain cards in their loadout for any of their vault and choose 2 of the below options. So they give you more options than just getting back hit dice, and you can choose whether you get back hit dice or not. So you can tend to wounds, clear stress, repair armor, or prepare.
Prepare.
And
For what?
preparing, what if you choose prepare, you describe how you're preparing yourself for the battle or the path ahead, and you gain hope for preparing,
What if
which
I
is
prepare
interesting.
poorly?
I don't think it's a check. I think it's just something you do.
Not a check. I just tell my DM, like, hey, I'm gonna prepare by, like, kissing a tree.
I make you take stress.
I was gonna say.
You take stress, but you get a hope.
Yeah,
I get
you
both.
It's
Ew.
because it's like placebo. You're deluding yourself
Well, the
into being
mechanic,
hopeful.
the mechanic is that if you choose the prepare action, you gain a hope. So
Yeah.
you like if you
So
want to
if you do
inflict
it
a
in a dumb
consequence on
way,
yourself,
I'll
like,
give you stress,
sure.
but you'll still get the hope.
I kissed this tree, which was really stressful, but now it's got me feeling hopeful.
It's got
Looking
you feeling
forward.
something, all
Yeah.
right.
Anybody want to get Catanned up?
Everyone
Rick.
got wood right now.
But that's interesting. You can roll to clear hit points, and you can also roll to clear stress. So it's kind of like getting back HP on a short rest,
Yeah.
but also different. And then you can also repair your armor because your armor takes hits throughout the fight, and so you can describe how you're repairing your armor, and so you can mark off 2 of the slots to get more armor strength back.
Which also reminds me of Darkest Dungeon when you take rests at a camp.
True.
Every character has a little action they can do that costs so many points of
Yeah.
action points to do.
And then you can either heal stress or HP,
Or
you
HP,
can prepare.
Or you can do both, because you can pick 2. So if you want to heal stress and HP, you can do that. But if you're like fine on both of those, you can also do other things, which is nice because like in D&D, when you run out of hit dice and then you take a short rest, it's like, well, I'm just sitting here now.
That might be how it is in D&D, but in D&D you have 12 points and you can use them to prepare, heal, and do stress or more. D&D being Darkest Dungeon.
And then the long rest mechanic has something similar. You can pick 2 of the list of things that you can do. And so you can pick which benefits of a long rest you get, which is another tend to wounds, clear stress, repair armor, prepare. You can also work on a project is the other one that you can
Work
do.
on a project. I've been scrapbooking. Yo.
You've been making like friendship bracelets for your entire party.
No, it's a bunch of pictures of me kissing different trees.
He takes one every time we get a long rest or short
Mhm.
rest.
Eventually, I'm gonna have the biggest book of tree kissing in the world.
He's wanted in several counties.
Counties, countries.
Gonna become an active member of bread stapled to trees, the subreddit.
Pertuset is trying to make tree fucker a thing in
No!
Daggerheart.
It doesn't go beyond kissing, Jordan. That's not tasteful. But very interesting. I like how, as we are in an era of upheaval for D&D, the one thing everyone is focused on is resting sucks as is.
Yeah.
Which is really funny to me because Baldur's Gate 3 massively changed how resting works even.
Yeah.
Just so funny. I like it too. I'm also experimenting with that. I did that in the last session that Levi was at. I was going to be like, I don't like how resting currently exists. Let's see if we can find a different way to make resting happen.
Let's change it for the last 2 sessions of this campaign.
True. Real. It was going to be
I'm just-
temporary there. But
I'm just stealing the Baldur's Gate one for my next campaign.
I'm going to modify it even further, but I have much more time than you do for that. So
True.
You have days. I have years.
I've already
Unless
thought of a way
we-
that I could modify it a little bit more, but not too much more.
Tree kissing?
Unless we
No.
horribly blow up Vivia 3, then you may be on deck faster than you think.
Quality of supplies.
Oh, like
Yeah.
if it's just a bunch of oak, you're not going to get anything. But if you sneak an acacia in there,
Or if you have
Yeah.
chapstick.
Yeah. Precisely.
What about a nice maple? You can get some syrup out of
shut
it.
your maple sucking hole,
Like
Taryn.
what?
I'm
Anyway.
clipping that. That's going in the next compilation video.
So
Back
true,
to
though.
Daggerheart.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I'm
great.
Oh, the way
I'm a little confused about I was reading while we were doing all that level advancements, leveling up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm confused as to what this means. So at level 2 through 4, everyone earns additional experience and adds it to their character sheet with a modifier of +1. Makes sense. At level 5, everyone earns an additional experience and adds it to their character sheet with a modifier of +1. They also clear the marks on each character trait they've previously increased and marked, allowing them to later increase those traits further. So does that mean like you wipe your character sheet and refill everything?
Well,
I
I'm
don't
going
know.
to go to the hyperlink beneath that says, for help with experience, see step 7, choose your
Okay.
experience in part 1.
Okay. Okay.
And
good
I'll
idea.
find out. You stay there so that way we can refer to that and I'll go here.
Yeah.
Okay, an experience is a word or phrase used to encapsulate a specific set of skills your character might have because of the exciting life they've lived. Tree kissing.
God.
I'm sticking with it.
Professional tree kissing. So is that going to be your
No.
background whenever we make the roleplay radio characters in Daggerheart?
No, chef. You start with 2 experiences at character creation. One with a +2 modifier and one with a +1. Oh, so it's kind of like ability modifiers in D&D. You earn more throughout your adventure. Before choosing, you'll want to have a solid idea of who your character is. The backstory questions are especially helpful with this. When you're ready, work with your GM to pick 2 experiences that might have shaped your character. Kissing trees. There's no list of experiences to choose from. There's no set list. Instead, choose a word or phrase that embodies something distinctive about your character. So you actually could do tree kissing.
God dang it.
For example, talented or focused are too broad, as they can be applied to almost any situation. Instead, you might use swashbuckler or magic studies or tree kissing.
Shut up.
I'm not gonna.
We're not making this a thing. Critical Role is not going to put tree kissing on their playtest.
That's the thing. It says there's no set list, so I can. They can't stop me. Additionally,
Matt Mercer, I need you to make this more precise.
Matt Mercer is going to send a cease and
Oh.
desist.
Okay, I will have a signed thing from Matt Mercer then. I didn't lose. Additionally, your experience can't give you spells or specific game abilities. For example, take flight or one-hit kill. Dang. You might consider acrobatics or assassin instead. Okay.
Assassin,
okay.
you say?
Yes. Although it says you're encouraged to add flavor. For example, instead of just assassin, you could choose something like assassin of the Sapphire Syndicate.
Or barbecue or Cool Ranch.
Mm-hmm. Gives your GM an exciting faction to weave into the campaign. Oh yeah, I hate the Sapphire Syndicate. They blew
That can be
up
one of your
immediately.
traits.
Chop down my kissing tree.
Yeah.
Level 5, the rogue adds Assassin of the Sapphire Syndicate. The wizard adds I hate the Sapphire Syndicate.
Well,
Well,
it's
here we go.
assassin of. It doesn't say that you're an assassin working for them. You may have assassinated the syndicate.
There's an
True.
implication that they are from the syndicate.
Because of the
Oh.
implications.
True. Here we go. Using experiences. So experiences are skills. Anytime you
Okay.
make an action roll, see action rolls in part 2. Jordan, that's on you. If you feel like an experience could help you succeed, you can spend a hope to add its modifier to your roll. Sometimes you might feel like more than one of your experiences is a good fit for the situation. For example, if you're trying to sneak past a guard in the dark, you might use I live in the shadows and stealthy.
Dang.
And if it's let's see, if it fits the story, you can apply more than one experience modifier to a roll, spending a hope for each. Okay, fair enough. Changing experiences. You're not stuck with the ones you've already chosen. You will get new ones. If you discover during play that an experience you previously chose isn't feeling right anymore. For example, the GM might notice that the way you're using an experience isn't a good fit for your group's story. Like tree kissing.
You have to stop kissing the trees.
Or you might feel
It's-
one of the choices you made doesn't match how you've come to understand your character.
You have to stop. It's detracting from the mission. You
Mm.
got us caught.
Nope, you don't know. It's going somewhere.
You started out with dark oak. Maybe you want to switch to a nice birch.
That's the plan. That's the scrapbook.
Mahogany.
Yes. The one day we can only dream we'd be so lucky as to get mahogany.
Mahogany doors.
That was mahogany.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, can you find character traits? Because that's the one. I understand the experience thing. The character traits one is the one I'm confused about.
I have action rolls pulled up. I didn't pull up character traits.
First character traits. Let me go to the table.
Okay,
of
somebody
contents.
else pull up character traits and then I'll read action rolls.
Okay, I'm working on it.
You could control F it.
I've
That's what I did.
tried. I'm having horrible luck with that because it's giving me more things than I want.
Fair enough.
There's too many answer.
I tried to look up scars and I just got like scared, discard.
Do scars and then space afterwards.
True. That would be smarter. Character traits are your skills. Like are your abilities. Agility, strength,
Okay.
finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge.
Okay, so what it says in the level up thing is they clear the marks on each character trait they've previously increased and marked. So is that correct that they all go back to like 0 and then you change them as you desire? This is at level 5 and at level 8, so it's kind of like feats or ASIs, but you have the potential to just entirely rearrange your character's stats from what I'm reading.
He found it.
When you choose to increase 2 unmarked character traits and mark them, you will choose 2 character traits that don't already have marks in them and increase their values by 1. These stats won't be able to be increased again until the next tier, when your level achievement allows you to clear those marks. So, tsumari, or presumably, when you clear the marks, it doesn't go down, but it clears. It's like when you tap land in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you can use it again. You have a number of times that you can tap it.
Yeah, so you can just increase
Okay.
it again.
You just can't
Gotcha.
increase it past a specific threshold within certain level areas.
Levels. Yeah, I
So
think.
then
Okay,
by
that makes
clearing the
sense.
marks, you are in the increase is how many marks you can take on a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like between
Gotcha,
level
okay.
2 and level 5, you can't have like a charisma of 15 or higher. But when you hit level 5, you could knock it up to 16.
Yeah.
wanted
So
to.
that way you can't do like what I'm doing in D&D and at level 2 have 20 charisma.
Yeah. So it is kind of like forced progression in that sense.
Yeah.
It's forced
Interesting.
stat progression. I like it. I do
That's
like
cool.
it.
Taryn, how do you feel?
Yeah.
I wanted you to be a hater.
I do think it limits freedom in some ways. But
No
it makes it a little
munchkins.
it makes it a little more gamey. It makes it a little bit more like a game, but at the
It's a
same
little-
time, go ahead.
It's a little bit more like point by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does allow you to see. I think a lot of what they're trying to do with this is encourage like narrative growth. They're trying to
Mhm.
make this a very narrative driven TTRPG
Yeah.
based on a lot of the rules that they have, and I think that is a way of having the rules line up with that, where it like very clearly is going to make sure that you are seeing your characters get stronger stat wise over the course of the story alongside the story as it progresses
Yeah.
as
Which
well.
they're doing a similar thing in Candela as well. I recognize some of the same mechanics, which makes sense because Candela is also Darrington Press, and I think Spencer Stark was also on the development team for Candela. Because I was talking about before we started recording that I saw similarities between some of the character building and world building stuff to the other game that we played before, Alice is Missing, which was
Mhm.
made by Spencer Stark. And then this has some mechanics that are reminiscent of Candela Obscura, which is the other game that Darrington Press came out with was it earlier this year or late last year? I can't remember.
It was
I
late
I think it
last
was
year.
late last year. Like marking skills and stuff like that is a similar mechanic to how they're doing stuff in that, which I really like. They're kind of honing in on the narrative and story driven more than the min-maxing.
Mhm.
I feel like it'd be a little difficult to min-max in this game.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, yeah, it's gonna hamper some people's experience of the game because they're gonna be like, "What? I can't bring my, Sorelock or Hallock build into this where I already do 20 damage a turn at round 2 or like turn 2, level 2, whatever." It's gonna be like, "Nope, you're going to tell me how you feel, and I'll give you a level up then, okay?"
And you're going to like it.
Pretty much, which will either enhance or
Track.
dehance. Okay, yeah, your enjoyment of this game. Why can't it be dehance?
I don't know. Let's consult Merriam-Webster.
GM, I would like to dehance. I would like to dehance this tree.
Dylan intentionally giving his characters handicaps because he thinks it's funny.
True. He doesn't think it's funny. He thinks
No,
it's
he thinks
good.
it's good character. I'm not making fun of Dylan. I do the same thing.
Never make fun of Dylan.
I would never dare to make fun of Dylan.
Good.
No, yeah, the most direct opposite of enhance is diminish.
I would never diminish Dylan.
Enhance seems like it's got like a thingy. What's that called?
Antonym?
Prefix?
Both of those, yes. But it doesn't. Like it feels
Yeah.
like you should be able to say dishance or dishance.
Yeah, the N
Deshance.
feels like an extra.
I do like deshance. Should make that a
Every-
spell.
If all of us say this, including you at home, if we all start saying dishance, it'll just catch on, snowball effect.
That is
That's
how
how Shakespeare
language
did it.
works.
Yeah, so everyone start saying dishance, and it's so gonna work. Girl,
So true.
we've
This
been
is-
done dishancing.
You guys know that last year, this is off top. Well, I mean, it's kind of on topic with words, but last year's word of the year was Riz.
Yes,
Good.
I'm
Hate
fully
that.
aware. That's
I
my
didn't.
favorite Fantasy High character.
Yeah. I didn't know, or maybe I did know and just forgot. I looked this up and I didn't remember that Riz is short for charisma.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah,
it
it
comes
is.
It's
from.
dumb.
isn't that funny?
Which honestly, we should be using it because we shorten a lot of the other like trait names in D&D, but there wasn't a good one for charisma because the like on D&D Beyond it just says Ka,
Yeah, make it Riz.
True.
No
doesn't-
way.
I thought it always said cha.
Well, it says cha, but it's for charisma, which is not pronounced charisma.
Kum cha.
Is it GIF or GIF?
It's GIF.
It
GIF.
is GIF.
It stands for graphics.
So
I
then
don't
is
care
it ka
what
or
the creator
cha?
says.
It's ka because it's for charisma.
I think we need further input on this.
Get in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Write
So-
about it. Tell us what you think, and
What
if you're
we-
wrong or right.
Can we do that for other ones too? Because like we have Dex, we have Con, we have Wiz and Riz now.
Wiz
Yeah.
and Riz.
And Int, we don't have a good one for
What is
strength yet.
strength?
I guess
Stir.
if we gave it the Riz treatment, we could call
Eng.
it Ren or Reng
Yes.
Angth.
or
I think we should call
Eng?
it Ren.
Eng.
Angth.
I like
Eng.
Eng.
I really
Angth.
like Angth.
Eng
Vote-
That's literally
vote
the
to call
word,
it-
but with ST taken off of it.
and R.
Oh, and
But
okay.
Riz is just ka. And ma.
Wait,
taken
wait,
off.
wait.
Come on.
Ka.
I still vote we call it Ren just because it would be funny and my character's a narcissist.
I like Ankh because it sounds like
I
someone
like
grunting.
which is
I got that
strength.
Eng. Ooh.
I
It's the
really
noise
like
you make
Angth.
when you're listening. Lifting. Oh my god.
Oh.
That's a lifting sound.
It's
Eng. You get lunk alarmed if you make that noise.
What is a lunk alarm?
You don't know lunk
You
alarm?
know lunk alarm?
No.
It's a thing they have at Planet Fitness where if you grunt, it sounds off an alarm in the gym.
Yeah, because they're like everybody friendly, so you can't be working out too hard or else you're a lunk.
So
Yeah.
they shame you
Yes.
if you make noise?
Yes.
Yes.
That's so
If
funny.
you're struggling to lift a weight and a noise pops out of your mouth, you're a lunk and get out. We hate you.
Yeah. And also, I believe if you drop weights, the lunk
Yes.
alarm goes off as well,
That
which like
makes sense.
We
but
should
like
consider-
I'm
It does
thinking
and
about
doesn't.
it does make sense, but I'm thinking about what if someone's like, okay, I'm gonna go real hard today. And so like they're struggling and they're like, ooh, I gotta drop it, and they drop it and they're like about to pass out, and then everyone in the gym is just shaming them
Yeah.
Well,
for,
that is
for
not
almost
great.
passing out.
But I've seen those videos of like the assholes that will just fully drop them so that it's loud and be like, look how much weight I just
Yeah.
lifted.
There
That
is
is the
that.
that's the intention, is to
That's
shame for that.
shameable.
I'm
But
thinking
no,
of
if you like drop it because you're gonna die, that's
I think of like someone doing a bench press and they like couldn't lift it and they're getting choked out by
Oh,
the
God.
like bar and they're like, oh, and they manage to toss it over and then like it goes cling and they're like, and then like lunk alarm goes off.
isn't that why you're supposed to have a supposed when you bench
Yeah,
press?
Supposed to doesn't
You're
mean you have
supposed to.
one.
A lot of people don't. This is
Oh my god.
Oh, just like in Daggerheart, if you are
Just
trying
like
to
in
use your
Daggerheart.
angth and the
If you're trying to use your Riz and Ankh at the same time. Oh, okay.
Take a screenshot.
and I can say that because strength they kept that name. They kept that name. They changed almost all the others. Actually, every single other one was changed.
Well, what else do you use for strength? Like,
Power,
yeah, power, might.
might, yeah.
You're lunk.
Nope, not that one.
why did you have to teach him a new word?
do you
Don't
mean
teach him
teach
new
him?
Not a
words.
new word, Jordan. What do you mean? We were just talking about it.
I
We were
know
just talking.
We were just talking.
because of the implications.
Huh.
Pertuset kisses trees.
It's true. I do.
Tree kisser. Tree kisser.
Hey! We hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!